Hello my YouTube friends, Late Boy Scout here, and this is my review of the Spyderco Manix 2, an extremely popular knife from a very well-known and respected knife maker, Spyderco. Made of 154 cm steel in Golden, Colorado, USA earth. Wink wink from Spyderco, that's a little joke. Featuring their patented ball bearing lock, rated or marketed by Spyderco as a hard use lock and a hard use knife, one that's going to withstand all kinds of abuse and hard use. Well, that's the way they market it. Is that really what it is? I don't know. From my personal experience, I can't say one way or another. I have not abused this knife. I just don't want to. I like it too much. But I have seen videos in which it is beaten up and abused, and it's not doing so well. Well, let's set that aside for just a minute. I'll get back to that, and those of you who are diehard Manix 2 fans might get your feelings hurt when I address that, but let's set that aside for now, and let's talk about the knife. G10 handle scales. I'd say this is sort of a medium grippy texture. Medium to aggressive. This is more of a medium right here, the Spyderco Tenacious. This is kind of a medium texturing here. Medium to light. Okay, and this one is, yeah, more aggressive than that. But not as aggressive as, say, the Cold Steel American Lawman, which has got the freaking most aggressive G10 texturing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, yeah, crazy. All screw construction, so you can take this thing apart as needed to clean it, maintain it, whatever. Pocket clip is placed in a good spot, if you ask me, for about that much of the knife sticking out of your pocket. And it is reversible to this side. Tip up only. If you like carrying tip down, too bad. It's only going to carry this way in your pocket. Lots of jimping all over it. On the spine here in the on the handle in the front, and also up here in the what I like to call the choke-up choil. Fully jimped, and the machining on that is beautiful. It looks terrific, doesn't it? And that jimping up there as well on the actual back of the blade. Also, good and aggressive. I mean, it holds my thumb in place very, very well. And yeah, also really well machined. What I mean by that is it doesn't look all jagged and ratty. For instance, like the Bird Cara 2, the machining on that is not so beautiful. Okay? This is also a Spyderco designed knife made in China for a lot less money, so it just, you know, things like this you might get with a cheaper knife. Not with the Manix 2 though. Aesthetically, this thing is top notch, and I'm going to have to hand it to Spyderco there for pretty much all their knives. That's something that they just get right basically all the time. Aesthetically, their knives are beautiful. That is to say, if you're a Spyderco kind of guy. If you like their types of designs, and some of them are a little wacky, a little interesting, but if you like that kind of stuff, man, you will agree with me that their stuff is beautiful. They make really good-looking, really aesthetically pleasing knives. Fit and finish-wise, top-notch. Does not get a lot better than this, than any of the nice Spyderco knives. And particularly the USA-made ones. Of course, the Tenacious here, pretty nice, pretty nice. I don't really have any complaints about it. Just a lot simpler design. Now, this comes in a lot of variations, actually. This one that you see here is pretty much the base model, the one that you're going to find pretty much everywhere. If you're looking for a Manix 2, you want to have it today, this is probably the one you'll find. The black G10 handle scales, the hollow ground blade, this is the one you're probably going to find, most popular. And maybe the one with serrations. But you can also get it in a number of different colors of handle scales and sprint runs, including ones that have a flat ground blade with different steel, I think, different colored handle, I think the blue one. Then I think one that glows in the dark, the handle scales glow in the dark, that's pretty nuts. What that tells me is this knife is that popular that they're making all kinds of versions of it for people that just love the feel of the knife, love the look of the knife, and just want to keep buying it over and over again, right? So they make it in different colors and slightly different variations. For 2011, they even have one that's got sort of a translucent blue handle scale here, not G10, it's some other sort of FRN-like material. And it's beautiful. The pictures I've seen, it looks fantastic. And I think it also has a flat ground blade on that one, if I'm not mistaken. I may be mistaken there. So yeah, a lot of interesting versions of this knife out there. If you really like the look of it, you'll find one that suits your taste for sure. Now, on to, well, I think we've covered, let's cover the weight actually. It's about 5 ounces, which is doable for EDC. I've used it for EDC, everyday carry tasks, and it carries well. One of the things about it that makes it carry well is the same thing that makes the Cara 2 carry well, even though it's kind of large, kind of heavy. It carries well because it carries so deep, okay? That's how deep that goes in pocket, and that means that this much of it is actually buried inside your pocket, holding the rest of that knife down. So, you know, if you've got this much sticking out and then you've only got, let's say, that much blade in your pocket, that doesn't carry very well, in my opinion. That doesn't feel good in hand, or in pocket. When you've got a lot down in there, that feels good, you know? That stays in there nicely and it feels like it's staying in your pocket. Same goes for the Manix 2. It carries well in that sense, even with that 5 ounce weight. Yeah, for an everyday carry blade, I feel like that's an all right weight. Let's talk about the width of it. Is that 7/16? About 7/16. Yeah, so not quite a ½ inch. It's a good width, you know, not bad. And I think it's pretty comparable actually to the Tenacious. Pardon that little hair there. Very comparable in width to the Tenacious. Also a very carryable, very popular everyday carry blade. And pretty comparable to the Cara 2. Fairly comparable. Let's compare it to something else like, well, let's see, since I have it here. The Rat Model 1. Okay. Even narrower than the Model 1. So a little more carryable than that as far as bulk and pocket is concerned. Yes, there is a lanyard hole, and it's placed okay. It's placed well enough. I prefer the one on the Manix, or sorry, on the Tenacious, which as you can see is a little bit higher, a little closer to the end there, which means that I feel like it's a little more useful, whereas this will kind of come up here and then have to curve all the way around your pocket to hang out. So I like this a little better, but that's nice and wide anyway, so it's acceptable for sure. What other points? Mostly flow-through construction, as you can see, means that you probably won't ever have to take this thing apart. You just blow it out with some canned air. It is not drilled out, those liners, at all, which means that you're carrying the full weight of the knife. You could carry a lighter knife if they were to drill those out. But yeah, it is what it is. Not a big deal. Again, weight is okay. I think I covered the pocket clip, covered the lock, covered the blade shape. Well, talk a little bit more about the blade shape. Basically, Spyderco's classic leaf-shaped blade, and it's a great looking blade and quite usable. Quite a lot of good utility from this blade. Let's see. Let's compare it to Tenacious. You see that the Tenacious has got a bigger belly going on there, which is possibly better for certain EDC tasks. However, I've never found this one lacking in any cutting task at all. Stays nice and sharp, takes a great edge. I'm talking seriously razor sharp. 154 cm is a great steel for that. Sharpens easily, but keeps a good edge. And it's fairly rust resistant from what I understand. Nice big Spidey hole there for thumb deployment, either by rolling it out or by flicking that out as you like, nice and fast. Also, a nice feature from that lock means that you can close it just kind of with one hand like that, and also by pulling the lock back, flip it open like that. Okay, Very nice one-handed open and one-handed close. I think I talked a little bit about ergonomics. Let's talk a little more. Ergonomically, it's one of the best knives I own. One of the nicest feeling in hand knives that I own. Feels great in this position. Feels especially nice in this position with that choke-up choil. My thumb and my index finger up really close for nice detailed work. I really, really like that. Really like being able to have that. Big fan of that choke-up choil whenever I can get it, as evidenced by the Cara 2. Let's see what else. The Bird Crow. I swear I've got something else. Oh yeah, the Cold Steel Lawman. Yeah, big selling point for me there. Nice choke-up choil. Love that. You know, you may not care about that yourself, but personally, I'll take it every chance I can get it. I feel like that offers a lot of really nice utility, makes a larger knife feel like a smaller knife. Any Spyderco knife, just about any other knife, when I find one of these, I give that knife a closer look because, again, I just love that feel, that choke-up choil. Nice in reverse grip as well, feels really comfortable. Okay, ergonomically, it's a big 10 for 10. It's a total win. Absolutely love it ergonomically. Now let's address the hard use debacle. Let's call it that, because they're calling this, Spyderco is marketing this as a hard use knife. Absolutely they are. And that lock as a hard use lock. They say, no, this is the tough lock. There's a ball bearing in there that takes all the pressure. And so this thing is, you know, not going to close on you. It's not going to break. It's not going to whatever. It's just going to be super tough all the time. Like Superman, whatever. However, and I hesitate to actually bring this up because this is not data that I've collected. This is data that I've discovered that somebody else collected. But you know what? That's what science is. Data gets collected and proven by somebody, and then everybody else relies on it. That's how it goes. You don't have, like, every single person proving it for themselves. That's just not how it works with scientific tests, right? So there has been a test done on this knife, a video test. I'll annotate it right now by a man named YouTube user Jankerson1. I think that's how he likes it pronounced, not sure. And his video is called Spyderco Manix 2 Hard Use Test. Watch that vid and see the hard use test that he puts this knife under, and then tell me if you still want the knife. Because personally, I'm not so sure I do. Now, I'm probably never going to put this knife under any of those kind of tests, right? Maybe I'm just going to have it to collect. I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. I like the way it cuts. I like using it. It's an awesome knife, right? So I'm never going to put it under any kind of abuse like that. But I like knowing that a knife that's billed as a hard use knife will actually take any hard use you dish out for it. And in that test that Jankerson1 did on this knife, it did not take a lot of that hard use. Didn't take it well. Blade play problems popped up right away. Mine doesn't have any, by the way. Front to back, side to side, none whatsoever. But again, has not been under any hard use. In his test, blade play happened right away and side to side. Then he proceeded to give the knife some overstrikes, hitting it like so, you know, on a 2x4 or something like that, hitting it real hard this way, okay, and then after that, turning it back this way and hitting it real hard that way, actually hitting it right here, spine wax, okay. And after he did those overstrikes, apparently that loosened something up with the lock, and the lock didn't work right anymore. And then he proceeded to do the spine wax, and that thing closed on him time after time after time. Kept closing on him. That's unacceptable, I think. Now, any number of factors could have gone into that, but honestly, the knife failed. The knife failed, right? It did. So that's why I have to bring that up in this review. I have to, because that influences my perspective of this knife. And that's all I'm giving you right now is my perspective of the knife. Again, if this hurts your feelings, you don't like me talking about your beloved Manix 2 in this way, go ahead and tune out. But I'm just giving you this information because perhaps you are sold on the idea that this is, in fact, the hard-use knife that Spyderco bills it as. And you're going to spend $65, $75, $90, $100, whatever you're going to buy it for, to get this knife, believing that one day, if it ever needed to, it would survive all that kind of hard use. And then maybe it didn't survive that for you. Then wouldn't you be pretty disappointed? I would. Other than that, we'll set that aside for one more minute and just talk about what a beautiful knife it is. It really is, man. It's gorgeous. I think this is one of the best looking knives that Spyderco has ever put out. And they put out some nice looking knives. But something about this one, man. I was sold on it a long time ago. And it just took me a little while to acquire it in a trade, actually. But I still love the look of this knife. Love the ergonomics. Love the steel. Love the fact that it's made in Golden, Colorado, USA earth. A lot of romantic feelings for this knife, still. And that's what you got. Kind of a mixture of, dang it, I wish it was better, and holy crap, isn't it cool. And that's my review of the Spyderco Manix 2. Thanks everybody for watching. Your comments are welcomed. And I'm the Late Boy Scout. See you guys later.